Cheers to you this morning. Cheers to you this morning. Thursday, October 30th, 8 a.m. on the dot. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Fun show lined up today. No guests, just me and you today. Just one-on-one today. Sometimes you play team ball, you go 2-on-2. Other times, let's go half court. We'll go threes. Go full court. Pick up full court. 5-on-5. Today, one-on-one. Just me and you guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. It's a wonderful Thursday morning. We close to October being over here. All right, we got a busy show today. Very, very busy show. Fun show lined up after watching what we watched yesterday. A lot of really good storylines right now around the Lakers, and this is with a team that just got a ton of injuries, don't have a lot of their players back, but the regular season has been really, really fun to watch. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Quick reminder here, 10 a.m. this morning, we'll do a little member show. MVP members. I'll put a link in a little bit here if you guys want to join, be a member, $3 a month, but we'll be hanging out starting at 10 a.m. And it won't be really, it's not going to be this show. So it's just going to be us a little bit more intimate setting. Ask me any question that you want. Talk a little bit about the channel. I got to see here. I'm working on a little rebranding here. Do I show? Do I not show? What can I show? What can't I show? So we'll do a little bit of that coming up at 10 o'clock. Let me give everyone a quick rundown what we got going on for the show this morning, and then we'll take a look at some of the comments. We'll get things started. Lakers win last night. What an impressive win. Honestly, I don't have much to say other than I'm really, really impressed and pleased with how the Lakers won last night, what they were able to do, how they made it happen. JJ Redick's coaching, role players stepping up, Austin Reaves continuing to have an incredible season. So just a lot of love for the Lakers, a lot of love for how that team fought yesterday with all the injuries that they have. And I get it. Minnesota's got injuries too. Anthony Edwards isn't playing. Obviously, that's such a crucial piece for their franchise as well. I don't care. You go out on the road. You win a game like that last night. I got nothing but credit to give to the Lakers. And I think the vibe of the show will be great today because obviously what they were able to do and what they were able to accomplish last night. So Lakers win. We'll get into it. JJ Redick coaching. I think Redick deserves a lot of praise. I really do to start this season. And I got a few different points that I want to make on that. I think, most people, when they talk about JJ Redick, I don't know if it's the most positive thing in the world. So I definitely got a positive twist. And I'm not trying to sell anything. It's just the reality. This is what he's been able to do with some of the pieces that he's had early on in the season. I want to give him some credit. Role players. Damn. I mean, talk about 6-7 guys stepping up last night for the Lakers. We'll talk about some of these role players. I got a funny tweet here that I saw. One of those role players being Jake LaRavia and Anthony Edwards asking around the bench. He's like, "Who is this guy? I've never heard of him. Never heard of him." Well, they know who he is now. They definitely know Jake LaRavia. And to be honest with you, I think probably a lot of Laker fans too are like, "Hey, Jake LaRavia, he arrived. It took him a few games to get there, but he had his signature moment for the Lakers yesterday. There's some other players that stepped up as well." I wrote here, in the topics, the vibe of the team. It's a good vibe. You could tell when a team is connected. You could tell when a team, they're rooting for each other. It's genuine. And I think there is something there. Maybe I tied that back into the coaching. Reaves, we'll get a little bit into Austin Reaves. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, how basically the chatter and the conversation about Austin Reaves, I don't want to hear anything more about trade conversation. He's not a long-term piece. He doesn't fit. And you need talent in the NBA. And if you got talent, hold on to that talent as long as you can. Listen, if the Milwaukee Bucks come calling tomorrow and Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to be a Laker, that's a different conversation. But all these other, players that we've discussed, I think Reaves is just, his value continues to rise. I think he continues to show that he is worthy of being a long-term piece. And if it ain't going to be in LA, it's going to be somewhere else, and he's going to be successful wherever he is. So we'll get into to Austin Reaves and talk about how Yeah, there's nothing else to talk about other than be grateful that he's on the Lakers, and hopefully he's on the Lakers for years to come. Health coming. Got a couple updates. One on Luka, one on LeBron, one on Adou Thiero. We'll do that. The potential in the Western Conference as well. I think the more I'm seeing the Lakers play, I did this yesterday, and this is before they won, before they played their game yesterday. I just feel optimistic about where the team is going. I feel optimistic of what the roster looks like. More optimistic than before the regular season started. Got some NBA news. Anthony Davis left the game in the first quarter for the Dallas Mavericks again. I got to be honest with you. If it's a stock, I mean, does it not just feel like that stock is heading in one direction and it's not heading in the right direction? Got a couple other things around the NBA. We'll touch on the World Series. Yesterday was Game 5. Toronto. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. There's no way to predict what's happening in the World Series, but Toronto up 3-2. We'll hit on that, and then we'll call it a day. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate it. Again, just a reminder, 10 a.m., we're going to do a member show. Once a week, we'll do a member show, and then I'll do some other things that are shorts or whatever it is I'll do with the members. Very appreciative for those who are paying $3 a month to be a part of the channel and are really just doing it to support the channel. So thank you very much for doing so. I'm going to start looking at some of the comments here. We're going to do that in 2 seconds. Before I do, I said I was going to put the link. If you'd like to be a member, consider being a member. Please feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. Here is the link. $3 a month. Don't feel pressure. Obviously, if you can't do it, all good. But if you can, would love to have you guys be members. Let's take a look at some of the comments. I just put the link at the bottom there as well. All right, let's see what we got. What are we talking about here in regards to, let's see what we got here. Okay, a lot of comments. John, good morning to you. Carl, good morning to you. Yeah, soon. Not just yet, but soon. Going to be working with iHeart and 570. That will kind of coincide with the baseball season ending, so there'll be a little bit more focus on the Lakers, and it's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to telling you guys more and more about it. They're just going to promote my channel, like literally. They want Lakers content. Obviously, I've got good history with the LA market, and it's amazing. It's going to be really, really cool. The fact that they're going to be jumping on my channel and want to promote it, and obviously I'll do some work for them as well. All right, let's see what we got here. You never underestimate the power of gratitude. Appreciating what you have opens the door for more abundance to come into your life. That's a great quote there. Man, I got to do that more. Sometimes I'm like, hey, how do you do it? How do you do it? I got to do that more. Slee only fans coming. Probably not. Probably not. But I do appreciate you thinking of me, Ray, that way. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's hope some teams want to offload a good player with long-term contract and trade with Lakers for Maxey and Gabe. Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to have trade assets. That's going to be the good news. Is Lakers are going to have some trade assets that they're definitely going to need to at some point, figure out. They got time. What was a quote we got from Rob Pelinka? 20, 25 games. They got to figure out what they have and then go from there. Pasadena in the building. Jake LaRavia. It's the best city in LA, by the way. It's the best city in LA. Okay, let's get the show started. First, quick shout out, Brian Vasquez. He's a member. Brian, tune in at 10. We'll be hanging out with the members, and thank you very much for being a member. I greatly appreciate that. Let's get 5 new members today. Get 5 new members throughout the show. Let's try to do that if we can. All right, let's get started here. So first off, let me just say this: Lakers winning last night. Not something I expected. It was really fun to do the post-game show yesterday because we were so close to kind of running into something, just kind of a worst-case scenario. Let me play it out for you. Worst-case scenario yesterday. Well, worst-case scenario is Lakers lose by 20, and it's never a game. And to be honest, I wouldn't have been too shocked. They lost by 8 or 10 or something like that. That wouldn't have been too shocking. But the other worst scenario is you blow a 20-point lead. The other worst scenario is I wouldn't get an opportunity yesterday to do the post-game show. And you guys, obviously instant reaction right after the game. So there's a full video of the post-game. I got JJ Redick on there with his interview on Spectrum, Reaves talk, Jake LaRavia talk. So if you want more of a kind of a traditional post-game, you can get that. But what would have really been disappointing last night is I didn't get to give praise, and this morning, to so many different players that contributed last night. And yeah, the fourth quarter wasn't perfect. And there was, a point of that game where the Lakers were just hoping and praying that the clock ran out and they ended up winning the game. But it wasn't the Lakers stepping on the throat of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves got some big threes. Mike Conley, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle got to the bucket, drove on Jake LaRavia, and they went up by one. And it's like, well, that sucks. I mean, I can't sit here and talk about just what a great game the Lakers have played and all these other individual performances and how it took 7 different guys to go on the road without Luka, without LeBron, without Gabe, without Marcus Smart. And I know there's other players in there. Adou, Thiero, okay, but we haven't seen him yet. He's a rookie. Maxi Kleber, how much can you really depend on him? But that part to me was by far the most disappointing piece of the game. It's like I can't even come on here and I can't even give praise because all everybody's going to be talking about is the Lakers blew a 20-point lead. Final possession of the game, Austin Reaves took it in his own hands. We'll talk about what Reaves did, and splits a double team, gets a little floater right in the lane. What was he, 10 feet away from the basket, something like that, with good defenders on the Minnesota. The Minnesota Timberwolves know how to play defense. If there's one thing that this team has is they got defenders. Does what he does, gets the floater, and Lakers win. And then I could sit here and I could talk about how great all these other players were. So that to me was the most important thing. The other thing, I was texting back and forth with Trevor Lane yesterday. I'm like, Trev, what do you think? You think we got one of these games, one of these next two, these 2 on the road that they have, and if Luka ends up coming back on Sunday, can they split that? And him and I both agreed, like, it ain't going to be easy. That's definitely going to be a challenge. But not just the challenge. I think the bigger piece of it as well, it's like you're just not expecting to win without Luka, without LeBron. That doesn't come with the territory. Lakers have now done it twice. They won at Sacramento. By the way, that's the most random thing, too, is they're winning on the road. They win at Sacramento, and then they win at Minnesota yesterday, and they've got 2 W's without Luka Doncic. They got 2 W's, 3 W's, but, obviously without LeBron, but Luka had played in one of those games. They're 3-2 this year, and go look at not just the injuries, the star power that's out. I mean, I got JJ Redick written down here, and I don't like being dramatic. That's not my personality. But damn, this dude freaking deserves credit. I mean, a big reason why the Lakers are sitting 3-2 is you don't have guys taking plays off. You don't have excuses being made. You don't have – these guys can easily be walking into games like last night and say, guys, come on, we just don't have our players, and roll over. Even the game they lost to in Portland, give the Blazers credit. Blazers were, by the way, probably helped the Lakers to have a game under their belt where they didn't have Luka and they didn't have LeBron. So it's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to attack. Here's our lineups. This is what's going to look like. Play LaRavia a ton of minutes. Play Dalton Connect a ton of minutes. Use more non-traditional lineups to try to work through a 48-minute game. Probably help them against Portland. But was there any point of last night's game, even when the Lakers went down early, 6 points, 8 points, I think at one point down 9, was there any point where you questioned their effort? Was there any point that you questioned, hey, these guys they don't care, or they know they don't have the stars, so they're just going to mail it in? Was there any point in that game yesterday that you thought that? Because I didn't. Now, it doesn't mean you didn't see some fatigue at the end, some confusion at the end, some lack of execution at the end. I'm not saying that they were perfect throughout the game, but that's where I kind of go into the JJ Redick and giving him some credit and giving the team credit here. They fought for 48 minutes. And with 10 seconds left or 6 seconds left in the game, they were one possession within winning the game, and Austin Reaves came through for them. Just a really good vibe so far for me to start the season. And I do understand that There's a lot more basketball to be played. I do understand that the competition's only going to get tougher. I do understand that the team's not perfect. The roster has some flaws. But if you could tell me that the coach has got the team playing hard, whether the stars are playing or they're not, it's a great sign. And that's what J.J. Redick has right now so far for the Lakers. And you got some of these other players that are coming through. So I just, I think more than anything else, what I wanted to do when I started the show this morning is I want to give the team credit, because there's going to be a lot of times that we're on here, and I've done this now. I've been doing post-game show reactions, been covering the Lakers. I've mentioned this before. This is my 10th season covering the Lakers. I've had plenty of time to bash on the Lakers. I've had plenty of times to say, this isn't right, this isn't right. Okay, that's fine. But when you got to give the team credit, I think now's the time to give them credit. Listen, if Luka was playing in this game, I'd give him less credit. If LeBron was playing in this game, I'd give him less credit. But the fact that the stars are missing and the Lakers are still kind of finding ways to fight, they're not always going to win these games. That piece I give them credit for. All right, I'm going to take a look at some of the comments here, but I want to just hit on real quick before I look at the comments. I just want to throw out a couple other things. The role players and the vibe of the team. There's different factors of role players. Okay, there's different tiers. We talk about the Western Conference as tiers, and OKC and Denver is in the first tier. And then you got all these other tiers under. With role players, there are tiers. So when Luka and LeBron are playing, the tiers are different. Last night, with all these players out, you have to have Ayton and Rui Hachimura. They don't become role players anymore. They become, they're not a luxury, they're a necessity. Where if you have your entire roster, some of those role players become luxuries. Last night, all of a sudden, these role players, like Rui Hachimura, I thought, you don't have a choice. You need 5-6 guys to play well based on the roster that they have. And they had 5-6 guys play well yesterday. So whether it was Ayton doing what he was doing, but I don't even want to call Ayton a role player. You can't call him a role player. They need him every night. So if you're depending on a player every single night, technically you're not a role player. Rui Hachimura, they need him every night right now. Austin Reaves, I don't even have a part of the conversation because he's such a superstar right now, playing as if he's one of the best players in the world. Obviously, I'm not going to mention in a role player perspective. So you kind of go down the tiers and you say, all right, well, what's the next role player? The next tier of role players start becoming Jake LaRavia, Dalton Connect, Jared Vanderbilt. You start going down the list of, other guys that you're going to need to contribute. I mean, hell, Nick Smith Jr., I would put in that category as well. Certainly a role player last night. Everybody contributed. Everybody found a way to contribute. You might love Vando, hate Vando. Why is he shooting threes? This, that, whatever. 12 rebounds for Jared Vanderbilt yesterday. We might talk about Dalton Connect and say, that trade really screwed him up. And you know what? The guy's not hitting shots in key moments and he struggles from the three-point line. 15 points, and he did it in a variety of way in 36 minutes of play. He can get to the basket. He got lobs from Austin Reaves. He's backcourt cutting or backdoor cutting. He's taking the ball to the rim and not just depending on the three-point line, even though he went 1 of 5, 1 of 6 from the three-point line, whatever it was. You had guys contributing. I mean, I mentioned this for a quick second. Nick Smith Jr., I thought Nick Smith Jr. helped the Lakers yesterday. All the role players stepped up yesterday. And the biggest role player of them all, and I love what J.J. Redick said after the game, the biggest role player was Jake LaRavia making his I'm going to butcher this, but J.J. Redick had said something to the effect of, you have games where people say, like, you've arrived, that, oh, yeah, that player he's a Laker, this, that. Jake LaRavia had his moment last night. Jake LaRavia last night became a Los Angeles Laker. He didn't become a Laker when he signed a 2-year, $12 million deal. He didn't become a Laker during training camp. He didn't become a Laker during preseason, and frankly, he didn't become a Laker through the first 4 games of the season. Last night, Jake LaRavia became a Los Angeles Laker. because that's what everybody was talking about. 27 points, 8 rebounds. He's the walk-off interview on Spectrum Sportsnet. He's the one everybody wanted to talk about right after the game. He's the one Anthony Edwards is saying on the bench, who is number 12? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. That's Anthony Edwards on the bench saying, I don't know who the hell that is. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of Laker fans that know the name, know the Lakers signed him, probably associate Jake LaRavia more with the fact that the Lakers chose him over Dorian Finney-Smith. After last night, everybody now knows Jake LaRavia. So, role players, phenomenal. Vibe of the team, really good start at 3-2. I know 3-2. You're like, oh, relax. They're not 5-0. No, it's not about what your record is. It's about who's playing and are you above 500? They're above 500. And the teams that they're playing so far, Minnesota made to the Western Conference 2 years in a row. Obviously, a much more impressive win when Anthony Edwards is in the lineup. I still think these last 2 wins were wildly impressive against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we'll see what the Lakers are able to do from here. We got a long way to go, 77 games left to go, but I got to at least give love to a team that I think has played hard so far to start the season. Okay, let me get some comments in here, and I appreciate you guys all hanging out, and at least that kind of sets up everything. And I haven't even talked about Austin Reaves yet, which we'll get into in just a second. HH, thank you very much for the super. Thank you very much for the super. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments. DFS never did that for us in one game. Yeah, I mean, DFS, I think for me, I wanted Dorian. I like Dorian. I like the trade. I thought it was the right trade for the Lakers. However you guys want to look at it. And if you want to say, well, that was the wrong trade, that's fine. I was good with no more D'Angelo Russell. DFS definitely had a space for the Lakers. He definitely had a need for the Lakers. All right, Lakers went a different route. They went cheaper and younger. That's how I just look at the Jake LaRavia signing. Now, a lot of people also did say when Jake LaRavia signed, like, hey, this dude's got some real talent. This guy's got a shot at being a rotational player for the Lakers. So with that being said, yes, you're right. DFS never had one of those. You're right, he had it. But I don't think his job was to drop 27. Dorian Finney-Smith's job was, I'm a two-way player. I can be a threat from the three-point line, and I could also play defense. But it's a good observation. You could tell the vibes are great in the locker room, and that's something that happens naturally. Nick, that's why I put, if you guys look at my topics, role players, vibe of team, you can't manufacture that. You can't, that's not something that you could, it's either organic or it's not. And listen, the team won a couple of games that we probably didn't think they were going to win. They won a couple of games on the road. Austin Reaves just hit a game winner. So there are obviously reasons why. The vibes are good right now. Will it be sustainable? We'll see. I mean, they'll eventually lose some games and have some bad stretches, and we'll see what the vibes are. But I agree that portion matters, and it's a good start. All right, let's see what we got here. They should work on Vando's inside game, not shooting threes. When he scored 14, he was scoring inside. It's funny how many people are concerned about Jared Vanderbilt's offensive game. He's not an offensive player. I think what you're saying here, Adam, I don't disagree. Stop shooting threes. There's just no reason for Vando. Now, Vando only took 3 shots yesterday. He took 1 3. I don't know who was trying to tell him, you got to watch out. I mean, the guy's he's hitting threes in training camp. All right. No, I'm going to continue to repeat this every time we talk about it. There is no single team or head coach that's not going to invite Jared Vanderbilt to take a 3 if he wants one. Vando is so important to this team. Every game we are physical, we either win or barely lose. Yeah, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think people are kind of all over the place on Vando. I feel like I see his value. I definitely see his value. And his value will increase when you start getting most of your other role players back. Because then you could use Vando strategically, I got to use him. And he's got to be in, moments where maybe I'm not 100% sure I want him in the game. So I think you want him more strategically. And right now, the Lakers don't have that luxury. Let me get a couple more comments in here. Ayton is automatic from the mid-range, but sucks at free throws. How is that possible? Yeah, there's some areas of his game I liked yesterday versus Gobert. I've had no issue, to be honest with you, other than maybe the first game with DeAndre Ayton. I haven't really had an issue with Ayton. I haven't. I kind of like where he's trending. I like what he's done so far. There's moments where he's physical, and he's doing a lot of this without a natural point guard. Not that Austin Reaves can't be a natural point guard, but that's not his natural position with the Lakers. And I think Reaves has obviously been tremendous in adjusting his game to making sure that, all right, I got to be a distributor. I got to go out there. How many assists you want? You want 8 assists from me? I got you. You want 10? I got you. You want 16 assists? I got you. And a lot of those assists, they're coming because he's feeding guys like Ayton, Jake LaRavia, and some of these other players. All right, phenomenal chat today. A lot of really good topics. So I appreciate you guys coming on here. All right, I'm going to save this comment. This will be a good one. Do me a favor if you guys don't mind. That's awesome. Do me a favor if you guys don't mind. Please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate that. All right, let's move a couple of those out of the way, and a couple other topics that I want to kind of start rolling into that we're going to get into right now. Before I do, you guys know we got a very, very proud partner to the channel. You guys know that it's a very loyal partnership that I have. Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. I always repeat it. I hope you guys never need Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, but things do happen in life. I got a good example for you guys. About a month and a half ago now, maybe all close to 2 months ago, Brad Wallace, there was a time where I was trying to reach out to Brad and had a question about this, that, and he had a trial out in Palm Springs, and he's like, Al, I'm bunkering down. Like, what does that even mean? His team goes out, and they're in Palm Springs. They stay, at a hotel or Airbnb, wherever they stay, and they're just getting ready for trial. So this is like training camp for them. He had an auto insurance company that made a $1.25 million offer to one of Brad's clients. This is the trial in Palm Springs. Brad Wallace selected the jury, delivered his opening statement. The insurance company decided to pay Brad's full $2 million demand before the first witness was called to the stand. That's how you execute. That's how you win. That's Brad Wallace. That's the Wallace Firm. These insurance companies know, okay, who's involved? Brad Wallace is involved? All right, let's try to figure this out here. The Wallace Firm is built for trial and delivers serious results on serious injury and wrongful death cases. They're not trying to settle. They want to go to trial. They're injury attorneys that can help anybody in the state of California. I hope you never need them. But if you do, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. I'm happy to make an introduction to Brad Wallace and the Wallace team. Over 5 years, I've known Brad. He has been a partner with me when I was on radio, and here he is joining me on YouTube. So I appreciate his loyalty, and I appreciate all the listeners who show love to Brad Wallace as well, knowing that partners are very critical to the channel. So thank you to everybody. I appreciate that, and thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. All right, let's keep moving here. All right, let me see if I got this. All right, let's look at this. Let's just throw this in there. Okay, Slee. Seen a lot less Reaves comments. Laughing emoji. All right, let's talk Austin Reaves here for a quick second. Okay, I'm just going to tell you guys my position. I'm not here to try to convince anybody. You guys have your own position. It's all good. However you feel about Austin Reaves, go ahead. But I'll tell you my position. I'm not having a trade conversation anymore about Austin Reaves. I'm not. Doesn't mean it will come up. It won't come up. Doesn't mean that Reaves won't have bad games and people will overreact. It doesn't mean that if the Milwaukee Bucks came calling tomorrow and said, hey, Giannis told us he wants to leave, and the only place he wants to come is the Lakers, and we just got to get as much talent as we can, that Austin Reaves is not part of that deal. But until those moments happen, and you guys know how far-fetched that probably is, I am no longer talking about Austin Reaves being traded. I want Austin Reaves this year. I want Austin Reaves next year. And I want Austin Reaves long-term on the Los Angeles Lakers, period. I don't care what it costs. The cost of doing business is the cost of doing business. But Austin Reaves is an absolute baller in the league right now. And every single year, he's got better. And his start to this season should just shut up all those conversations about Austin Reaves got to go. He's talented. He wants to win, says the right things, wants to be a Los Angeles Laker. And most importantly, he's delivering. Every single night, he's delivering. Let me give you guys, and I know this is a small sample size, but I don't care. I'm going to give it to you guys anyways. Here's Austin Reaves' stats so far this year. All right. These are his stats, what he's averaging so far this year. The number is going to come down. Of course they are. This obviously without Luka Doncic, without, LeBron. He's averaging 34 points a game and 10 assists. He's shooting 52.5% from the field and 39% from the three-point line. Also giving you just under 6 rebounds a game. Austin Reaves is playing as good as anybody in the league. I know there's guys that are killing it right now. Incredible. Making it. Victor Wembanyama, probably the MVP, the early MVP. It doesn't matter. We're not even into November 1st. It's only 5 games in. Reaves looks like he's taking his game to another level, period. What you need to do in the NBA is grab as much talent as you can. And I do understand that the Lakers have already a player in Luka Doncic that is brilliant, handles the ball, and everything else. I also know they got a guy like LeBron James who, yes, can play off the ball, but traditionally in his career, he plays on the ball. LeBron's not going to be here this could be his final season for all we know. Stack up as much talent as you can. Austin Reaves is as talented as they get in the league. He's only getting better. Age-wise, he's at a perfect age to put himself in a position where he's even, more crucial to the Lakers down the road. He actually plays games. He's not a guy that takes a lot of time off. He's typically healthy, knock on wood. He's been incredible. And last night watching him again, what do you want from me? I think there was a point where we got to about the fourth quarter. He had 14 assists, ended up with 16. So only had 2 more assists in that fourth quarter. You want to know why? Because they needed buckets. And then he kind of just shifted gears and said, all right, now I'm going to go get my offense going because that's what the team needs from me. And he did it. 28 yesterday, 16 assists. Spectrum keeps pulling up these stats where I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Here's what Austin Reaves done. No player's done this since Jerry West. Hey, here are players that have done this X amount of times, and he's now on a list with Kobe and LeBron, and where the hell is all this coming from? That's how brilliant Austin Reaves has been. Again, I'm not telling you he's a perfect player, but what I am telling you is if that's a stock that's on its way up or on its way down, I'm trying to buy as much Austin Reaves stock as I can. Listen, I'm gonna go back to what I said a little bit earlier. I get it. I understand. If the Milwaukee Bucks are calling and saying that Giannis wants to go to one place and it's only the Los Angeles Lakers and Austin Reaves is okay, I get it. I understand it. There are certain players that are like, all right, there's just no conversation to be had. But what I'm not doing is trading Austin Reaves at the trade deadline this year. What I'm also not doing is letting Austin Reaves walk away for nothing. Whatever the hell happens after that, I'm assuming it was just a good business decision by the Lakers, and they'll figure it out from there. But I am in the Austin Reaves business. I want more Austin Reaves stock. And this man, all he's done for the Lakers since he became a Laker is deliver. And, there's certain people that overpromise and underdeliver. I think Austin Reaves' entire career, he has underpromised and over-delivered. So it's not just about the start of the season that he's had. And I get it. People are going to say, it's 5 games in. Let's see what he does in the playoffs. Guys, I can't predict what he's going to do in the playoffs. I can't predict what's going to happen all the way into April or into May and hopefully for the Lakers in June. I can't. But what I can break down for you is right now, today, what he's doing. He's a clear-cut leader. I even like watching him when Luka and LeBron aren't here. Now, listen, if there's an argument to be made based on what he's doing and the type of performance that he's had, maybe there's a world where Lakers got to be just much more strategic with Austin Reaves and just play him and Luka a little bit less together and let Austin Reaves do what he's doing right now, obviously without Luka Doncic on the floor. And then there's going to be times, obviously, where they're all clicking on all cylinders and making it happen from there. He's a long-term piece, guys, period. I mean, I don't know how much more clear I can make this. He's a long-term piece. I mean, I know this on this Lakers roster. I know Luka's a long-term piece. I don't know if Rui is. I don't know if Ayton is. I don't know if Vando is. I don't know if Marcus Smart is. I know LeBron's not, just based off of this is going to be his 23rd year in the NBA. I know he's not going to be playing for that much longer. Austin Reaves is a long-term piece. And I think the more fans embrace that and just appreciate what this man is doing, I think you're going to enjoy watching Lakers basketball more rather than really, really nitpicking at every single thing that he does wrong. He ain't perfect. I'm not trying to tell you he's perfect. No, he's not a top defender in the league. No, he's not. There's going to be games where he has too many turnovers, but he's a freaking really, really good player, and he's about to get paid this offseason, and I hope it's coming from the Lakers. I really do. All right, let's take a look at some of your comments. That was fun. All right, I enjoyed that. I had to get that off my chest there. So let's see what we got here. I think he gets 5 years, 175. Do the math here. What is that? 30, 40. Jesus, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. What is that? It's got to be in the 35 range, something along those lines. It's a live show. Let me work on my calculator. Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. 35, yeah. 35 a year. All right, let's see what else we have here. That's great. All right, let's see what we got here. Sliwa, we love AR, but there's only one ball, and we have two guys who mitigate his impact. Guys, you got to think past LeBron. Don't think of when LeBron's here. Think past LeBron. All the planning that should be going on for the Lakers past this season, don't really think of LeBron. I say that because we don't know what LeBron's future is going to be. You know what I don't think is going to happen? If I'm going to be genuine here, you think LeBron's getting another $52 million next year? I don't. I mean, clearly, if the Lakers wanted him and wanted to give him the security and the control and everything else, wouldn't they have just given him another 1+1? I mean, it feels like the proof is in the pudding here, or the writing is on the wall, that whether it's this year that's the final year, I don't know. But do you think they're just giving him another 52 next year? I don't. And the reason why I say that is because I do think the numbers are going to change. And I do think the fact that LeBron will not be here, obviously for a couple more years. I mean, I think we could all say that comfortably. By the way, I could be wrong on that. I think what I'm talking about from that perspective is you got to have AR on this team. Got to have AR on this team. I better have a lot of people agreeing with me. I mean, if I got people that are not agreeing with me, then, we're going to have some issues here. All right, let me see here. Sign Reaves for 4 years, 120. If he wants more, let him go. So you're going to let Austin Reaves, because, okay, let me play this out for everybody. $30 million a year. Let's say the Lakers go to Austin Reaves and they say, hey, we got $30 million a year for you. You good? And Austin Reaves says, guys, I want to be a Laker. Here's the problem. There's 10 other teams with cap space, and 5 of them are already offering me $35 million a year. Match the 35. You're going to say no, let Austin Reaves walk for nothing? You get nothing out of Austin Reaves? I'm not walking away. Hopefully that number is 35. But I'm not walking away. I'm just really not. Take Ayton out. Austin is working so hard, it would look like the playoffs. Reaves playing his way to Milwaukee could have had a year-long trade restriction, but he rejected the extension. He had to reject the extension. It's nothing personal. It's business. I mean, really, honestly, like just at the end of the day, why would he accept $89 million for 4 years when he can get $150 for 4 years? Right? Why would he accept that? That's not how. There's no business. I mean, shame on his agent if his agent's like, hey, you should grab that 4 years, 89. I was never on the trade Reaves team. The dude has gotten markedly better every single season. The last thing you do is trade him now. You re-sign him for whatever and trade him later if necessary. This, my friends, from Dub9 Raider. This is the most logical comment that's on here. Keep your assets. Don't trade him at the trade deadline. Don't, when the offseason comes, sign him. And then if you want a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, something happens, you're not sure, hey, this isn't work. Oh my God, I can't believe this player just became available. Deal with it then. That way you keep your asset and Austin Reaves is still producing the way he's producing. Can a man get a sip of his coffee? Jesus. Now, at one point, anybody here said, hey, Al, great show so far, man. Why don't you have a sip of coffee? Not at one point anybody said that. The disrespect on this channel. If you trade AR this year, you're not going to get back even close to similar value for him with his current contract. Yeah, that part is remarkably true. Tell me another player in the league that's making $14, $15 million, you're going to get value back. Now, the way to do it, obviously, is you got to trade multiple players and all that stuff. Listen, here's the only trade that I'm making as we're getting closer to the trade deadline. We got a ways to go. Yeah, I mean, what's Rui on the market? What's Gabe on the market? Do teams want these expiring contracts? Is there an interest in Dalton Connect? What's that first rounder look like? Maxi Kleba's on expiring contract. That's how I'm looking at the trade deadline. I'm not making a shakeup like that. Austin doesn't just hit buzzer beaters. He hits big shots throughout the game. He's a big-time player, man. He's a big-time player. He's a big-time player, and that was a big-time performance yesterday. And he's been big-time since this season has started. Frankly, he's been big-time since he came up through the Lakers system. It's the best way that I can put it. Listen, I've told you guys all the time, I like these conversations. It's good. And I get that, some people are maybe just stuck in their own head saying, no, he's got to go. And I understand the justification when people say, Al, it's Luka and Austin Reaves. But I'm not entertaining that conversation. The Raider conversation, the one that I read a little bit earlier, that to me is the best comment that I've got in regards to the Austin Reaves conversation. He ain't going anywhere at the trade deadline. I'm re-signing him for whatever it takes. And I actually genuinely think he'll give you a hometown discount. I do. That's how bad he wants to stay to be a Los Angeles Laker. And eventually LeBron's not going to be on this team. You're going to need to kind of reorchestrate this roster as well. And once all that happens, all right, we'll see what it looks like in a couple years. But Austin Reaves is part of my long-term future if I'm the Lakers. So I'll keep things moving here, but definitely wanted to emphasize that. And it's a fun conversation. So I appreciate everybody's comments in regards to that. Kurt, you're a good person. I could already tell. Kurt's a good person. Compliments the show. Say, yeah, take a quick break. I got it from here. Okay, let's keep moving on here. Member show. Did I say we got a member show? MVP members? Coming up at 10. I said let's get 5 new members before the show ended. We need 4 more. 4 more new members. All right, let's keep going here. Got some kind of, optimistic news in regards to some of these Laker players right now. I'm going to read a tweet that came yesterday from Dave McMenamin. JJ Redick says there is no set return date in mind for LeBron James, but the team is eyeing the 2nd or 3rd week of November as the general range. Okay. Let's look at that one real quick. Lakers are only going to get healthier second or third week. So the first week of November, they play 4 games. The second week of November, they play 4 games. So he's already missed 5 games. Add Memphis, that's 6. It looks like it's going to be between 10 or 15 games for LeBron. So I think kind of right around that timetable that we were talking about. What I would say is this. I'm just going to assume that LeBron's going to be out for 15 games. And anything before that is just positive for the Lakers. But I'm going to assume that by the time we get to November 16th, which is a day off for the Lakers, November 17th, a day off for the Lakers. I mean, hell, if he doesn't play against the Utah Jazz on November 18th, Lakers, they got a really weird schedule. Or maybe, you know what? No, this is going to be part of probably the Emma or the, is that the Cup schedule? No, I don't think it is. Lakers got 1 game the week of November 16th. If he decides not to play in that 1 game against the Utah Jazz, he'll have missed 16 games and doesn't have to play again until November 22nd, 23rd in Utah. So maybe, honestly, maybe the strategy is just hold him out for even that 3rd week because he can get another full week. Lakers only play 1 game. That 1 game is going to be against the Utah Jazz. So not really, the timetable hasn't really changed for LeBron, but a little bit of an update there. And then the other thing Dave McMenamin said, as for Luka Doncic, Redick said the team hopes to have him back sometime in the next couple of games. That was before yesterday's game. So, I'm really hoping we get a little Luka Doncic back coming up against the Miami Heat on Sunday, I want to say, before the Lakers go on that long road trip. Well, they'll have 2 games, but yeah. So they got Miami coming up on Sunday. I don't think anybody's expecting him to play tomorrow against Memphis. And then they got Portland on Monday on a back-to-back. And then one more home game coming up on Wednesday, November 5th, and then they're back on the road for kind of a big stretch here. So looks like help is coming soon. Another piece of good information here, or a good update that I think is really, really good as well. Adou Thiero cleared for live on-court contact work. So Adou Thiero, who has been dealing with a knee injury, will be ready for 5-on-5 activities. He'll be integrated into the Lakers practice over the next week, including with the South Bay Lakers. I know he's a rookie. I know that they're probably not going to depend on him a lot, but I want to see him play. Athletic wing. Right now, you just need bodies. And trust me, if Adou Thiero was healthy right now with the injuries that the Lakers have had, he would 100% be getting opportunities. The problem is he hasn't been healthy. So it could be as big of a name as Luka Doncic. It could be as raw of a name as Adou Thiero. Lakers need bodies. And I think that's good news. We'll see when Marcus Smart eventually comes back. He's day-to-day. They got Jackson Hayes back. Gabe Vincent, we know, is going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. Honestly, that is what it is. We know LeBron's not coming back till maybe at the earliest mid-November. But Luka's going to be coming back soon. That swelling in his finger is down. So that's obviously great news. And then Adou Thiero. We'll see when the Lakers could potentially get him back as well. I think that would be obviously great to have him in, and a lot of people would be excited to see him. Let's see here. Nick Smith is so much better than Bronny, at least ball handling wise anyway. No, I agree with you. I was really, really looking at, for me, I was looking at him yesterday, and I hate to see Austin Reaves bring up the ball because in my head, I'm like, Jesus, this guy's got to do everything. Can we at least just have another point guard bring up the ball? He gives them a little bit of that. Hit a 3, got an and 1. And I'm not telling you he's going to get a lot of time, but high energy, playing hard, doesn't look intimidated by the moment. I was a fan. I mean, I know we're going deep down the depth chart, but I was a fan. I really, really was. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we have here. A lot of comments here. LeBron will play till he's 65. Who are we talking about here? My God, he's 27. He'll be in his prime for 8 years. 35 is when humans stop producing. All right. Okay, let's keep going here. I think we hit on everything Laker related. And I think, today we had some really, really good topics. I'm going to give you guys a quick heads up tomorrow. Obviously back on tomorrow at 8 a.m. And Kobe Price, who covers the Lakers for the OC Register, will be in Memphis tomorrow. I think he's traveling today, and he'll join the show. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show, and always enjoy having some of these Laker beat writers that are around the team every single night. Obviously, I got a ton of other people that join the show as well, but he'll be on the show tomorrow, maybe 8:15, something along those lines. Trevor Lane's going to join the show on Tuesday, so we got some things kind of lined up here. I got to get somebody from the San Antonio Spurs since the Lakers play them next week. I want to talk Wemby. All right, let's get into some NBA news here. I got a few things I'm going to hit on the NBA. We'll talk a little bit about the World Series, and then I'll let you guys go do your thing, and I'll leave everybody the hell alone for the rest of the day. All right, I saw this yesterday. Anthony Davis exits win versus Pacers with sore leg. I don't even know what that means, but let me just read this for you guys. I got some thoughts here on this. Anthony Davis exited Wednesday's game in the first quarter against the Pacers, described as left lower leg soreness. At halftime, they ruled that he's out for the game. Davis came up gingerly after scoring and signaled to the bench that he needed to exit the game. He crouched down on the sideline for several seconds when the Mavs called a timeout, headed to the locker room for further evaluation. Jason Kidd, he tried to return, didn't want to take any chances. We'll see how he feels moving forward. AD's 32 years old. Guys, am I being dramatic by saying this? And this is somebody, and this is a fan base that's on here that just kind of knows Anthony Davis's ups and downs when it comes to injuries. You just can't depend on this guy anymore. And this didn't just start yesterday, but obviously he had injuries while he was a Laker. Gets traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Everybody, feels the way they felt about that trade. And in his first game, he got injured. I hate to see it. I'm a fan of Anthony Davis. I'm a fan of his game. I appreciated what he brought to the Lakers over the years. Just not somebody you could depend on. I think the part of the reason why people were like, hey, that might be the dumbest trade in the history of the NBA, trading Luka Doncic, somebody that could potentially win a couple MVPs, and he's only 26 years old, and lead the Lakers to, hopefully some championships, but potentially a championship. We'll see. Obviously, he's going to be the face of the franchise. Part of the other reason why that trade was just made absolutely no sense is Anthony Davis is 32. And Anthony Davis has a injury history. And we are 5 games into the season. I don't know how many games the Mavs have played. They have not been impressive at all. But we are a week and a half into the NBA season. AD's leaving a game. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I feel bad for Anthony Davis. Part of me feels bad for Dallas Mavericks fans that are like, what the F? And then as a Laker fan, you're like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's kind of that comes with the territory of having Anthony Davis. So shitty for him, but is anybody surprised? I saw yesterday when I was doing the post game, I saw some people saying something about AD injury this, but I didn't know if I didn't understand what they were saying. And sometimes when you're doing a live show, it's tough. I'm going to go research this while I'm doing a live show. I'm like, all right, I'll just wait till tomorrow. And then when the show ended, I looked and I'm like, 80 again? Sucks for him. I do feel bad, but again, that comes with the Anthony Davis territory, and we'll see how long he's out for. Hopefully he's not out long, and, he's good to go, but that part, that part's really, really unfortunate. I saw this yesterday too. Trae Young Looks like he avoided a big injury, has no issues with his ACL after leaving Wednesday night's game. And it's a right knee sprain. The most important thing, Quinn Snyder, the coach of the Atlanta Hawks, said, most important thing is it's not his ACL. He's going to get an MRI tonight or tomorrow, make a determination from there. Not sure how long or what respect, but something he's hopefully going to be back from whenever possible. So good news for Trae Young. Not a serious injury, even though he had an injury yesterday. Couple other things I'm going to point out from an NBA perspective. We'll talk about the World Series, and then we'll call it a day. I saw this. NBA still investigating Terry Rozier and Malik Beasley. Man, I'm so confused. I am so confused with all this stuff around the NBA. But let me read this to you. Pablo Torre finds out, obviously on his podcast, the NBA is still investigating Terry Rozier and Malik Beasley, sources say, even after internal inquiries didn't find a smoking gun on their phones. The league previously probed Beasley for betting on other sports, and sources say the feds haven't cleared him either. It almost feels like the NBA's just got to get the hell out of the way. And honestly, the NBA looks like they don't know what they're doing. They just don't look like they're in control of this matter at all, and it doesn't look like they're in control of making sure players or coaches are involved in activity that puts a black eye on the league. They look stupid. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. They look dumb. The NBA looks dumb. And more information that keeps coming out. It just, the league looks like they're not in control. And people could say whatever they want. Can this stuff happen? Has it happened all the time? That's fine. I mean, however you guys want to describe it, that's fine. But the NBA does not look like, as we sit here today, like they got control of these shady matters around the league. Before the season even started, there's a big investigation into aspiration and Steve Ballmer and the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, and are they circumventing the salary cap? Before the season started, you're not even talking about the games. And then after opening night, all the conversation has been about betting in the NBA. Is it just me, or does it feel like the NBA looks a little bit like a shit show? Blazers have told players not to contact Chauncey Billups. I saw this. Thiago Splitter and general manager Joe Cronin had addressed the team Thursday afternoon after the news broke. This was on ESPN, to relay whatever details and instructions they could. They didn't know much more than the players did at this point. Everyone thinks we might know more than everyone else. This is actually one of their players. Thibault was saying this. But it's like Twitter is telling us just as much as anyone else. Thibault said he and Billups talked every day, sometimes multiple times a day, but it was more than that. Chauncey just believed in me, the veteran wing said. So he's obviously talking about his time with Chauncey Billups. All right, that's the best way that I can put. It's the best way that I could kind of describe some of these existing storylines around the NBA. The NBA looks a little bit like a shit show. I mean, that's the best way that I can describe it. All right, let me look at some of the comments, and then we will go to the World Series after that. How come the NBA is not investigating refs, though? It's almost like the NBA, they need an outside source that does not have a conflict of interest, does not have, they're not hired by the NBA. They don't have billions of dollars coming in from these betting sites. They need to be the ones that overlook the integrity of the game. All right, let's get another one. Laughing my ass off, still investigating. Didn't the FBI already do that? Yeah, that's I guess the piece of that I don't understand. It's like, well, where the hell were you when Terry Rozier was still allowed to play in the games and then was allowed to sign a contract with the Miami Heat, get traded to Miami? Miami gave up draft picks for that. He's making $26 million. Where were you during that whole process? AD, great trade for us. AD out a month, watch. Mavs are wasting Christie. Yeah, in the couple of games I saw Dallas, he really wasn't kind of used the way he should be used. AD had Achilles soreness before the game, and they decided to play him. All right. Mavs are 2-3, and they don't look good. They just don't look good. I mean, again, it's early, but they just don't look good either. All right. Let's keep rolling here. Final topic I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to talk about the World Series, and then we'll call it a day. 10 o'clock, we'll do a show for members. All right, World Series last night. By the way, the World Series basically just lines up. Anytime Lakers play, there's a World Series game. Last night was very interesting to me. The last two nights were very interesting to me. I really genuinely thought the only shot Toronto had of winning this series, or not even winning the series, but having a shot in this series, was they had to win Game 3. And not only did they lose Game 3, they lost in one of the worst ways possible if you're a Blue Jays fan. They went, first off, they had a lead, a 4-2 lead, a 5-4 lead, gave up the lead, and then went 18 innings only to watch Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off home run in the 18th inning for the Dodgers. And they lose in probably one of the most demoralizing ways. And the Dodgers, who are the heavy favorites, take a 2-1 series lead. And the very next day, Shohei Ohtani is going to be on the mound, followed by Blake Snell, followed by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This thing's a wrap. They get 4 runs off Shohei Ohtani in a game where you just assumed the Dodgers were going to win and Toronto was just going to roll over. They win that game. And then tied 2 apiece, you just assume the Dodgers are going to regroup. Their bats will get going. And Blake Snell is not going to have 2 bad starts in a row. Not like he was, the worst pitcher in the world, but 3 pitches in, he had already given up 2 solo shots. I think allowed 1 more run the rest of the way. But instead of everything that you've just assumed was going to happen in this series, the Blue Jays just enough momentum every single game to be in it, and then find a way to pull away at the end. Their rookie pitcher yesterday, Savage, who, by the way, has pitched more postseason games than regular season games, was so dirty last night. 12 strikeouts in 7 innings. Blue Jays win 6-1 and are now 1 game away from winning the World Series. And obviously the next 2 are back in Toronto. Yeah, whatever prediction that I had or thought process I had going into this series and going into every one of these games, I'm off. So I'm just going to not predict anymore. I mean, obviously Yamamoto has been great, and the Dodgers are definitely not done or over or any of that stuff. But Toronto's got what in baseball might be the most important thing. They got momentum. Now, momentum can't really last too long. It's, the Dodgers come out tomorrow and score a couple of runs. Well, what momentum do you really have? But pretty incredible that they have found a way to be up 3-2. And I definitely didn't see any of that, especially after I think we all just assumed when the Dodgers won in 18 innings, it's like, yep, that's a wrap. This thing's over. But it's not over. And they're still playing, obviously, like I said, some phenomenal baseball right now and have found a way to be up 3-2. One NFL game tonight coming up, the Ravens at the Dolphins. I would have no problem if you told me, hey, do you want to watch the 2-6 Ravens versus the 2-6 Dolphins? I would tell you I would be more interested in just staring at the wall for 3.5 hours. Just staring at the wall. Not moving. Just staring at the wall. I got zero interest in that game. I think that's safe to say. All right, get a couple comments in and then we're going to call it a day. All right. People angry here. When Savage has the splitter working, he's an absolute stud. Yeah, that thing just drops. And listen, you're talking about the best hitters in the world that looked confused on him. Let's get some more here. JJ Redick, assistant, living in the moment, keeping that same energy when they start playing for real. Okay. Let's see what we got here. By Slee, by Jason. You add D'Lo to your team, you're going down. Anthony Street close Davis. Unfortunately, that comes with the territory for him. All right, I think what do we do today? Got a $1.05 in here. Got a $1.05 in here. All right, my people, great stuff. I appreciate everything. Thank you for being here. Fun show today. Fun couple of shows. Great start to the season. I'm enjoying these shows and enjoying the post-game shows as well. Please subscribe to the channel. If there's somebody out there you think that would enjoy this channel, enjoy the content, please share it with them. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Kobe Price going to join the show. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. If you're a member, I'll see you at 10 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.